Hey, welcome back everybody to what is actually going to be the third video. I'm just probably this is kind of a little side information. I'm probably going to change how I traditionally handle my video numbering and naming for this series because I've realized a few problems with kind of my original idea for how I wanted to do it. Um, for example, there's a few things have happened here. This video actually, though it's going to be the third part technically within the playlist, right? Uh, this video actually takes place after the video you're going to watch in part 4. This is evidenced by the fact that I'm already wearing a crescent falchion +1, and I already have a compound longbow. Just for some brief details, I did create a new soldier character because I got tired of looking at the other soldier character. Decided I couldn't stand this guy's hairstyle either, even though I like the rest of his design better. I swear to God, I'm never mentioning hairstyle again unless it's some sort of joke. But I really don't like the way the hairstyles look on male characters in this game. In fact, in general, I don't like how male characters look in this game. Or I'm sorry, not male characters, body type B characters. No one's actually got a gender in this game. Hence why we're all demons. So, I did make a new character. This character did kill Vanguard in the tutorial, and I in fact eventually killed the Red Eye Knight too. That's how I was aware of the correct loot past the Red Eye Knight, and that's how I knew to call out the fact that I missed the Iron Helm in the Dragon Paunch section, as I like to call it. But we're here in the Nexus. What really happened is I wanted to discuss some things in the Nexus and then go into 4.1 and make that all one video, but it turned out that I just had too much to talk about in the Nexus. That portion of the video went too long, and I really just want to make shorter videos in general. I myself don't like sitting through a YouTube video that's more than around a half hour, 40 minutes long tops. Like, I have trouble lasting a YouTube video longer than that. And I don't want to be the guy who doesn't like sitting through more than a 40-minute YouTube video, who then turns around and makes an hour and 20-minute YouTube video. So yeah, I just want to try to find a way to get these shorter. So I wanted to recut this footage. So let's go ahead and go over much quicker and much more efficiently what I wanted to discuss without all the fluff. First and foremost, some things that I hint at in the Boletario 1.1 section, but I don't really specifically mention, is it's a really good idea, again, to buy a club. You'll see why in my next part, but the club is a really good weapon to go into 4.1 with. It's only 500 souls. You can get it right off the Druggling Merchant if you don't have a blunt weapon. Otherwise, it's a good way to spend 500 souls. You're not going to regret that spend, trust me. Specifically, let's go into a little more detail. The club is an interesting weapon because it's even better than what I had as a starting weapon. I had the broadsword, but what you'll find out is the club scales off strength C, and right now, because I think I've pushed my strength to 16 at this point on this character, you see that I have a plus 18 bonus. So it's important to pay attention to the scaling in this game because it works a little, it doesn't really work differently than in the Souls games, but I think the scaling is more dramatic in Demon Souls than it is in the Souls games. A C scaling in Demon Souls is much stronger than a D scaling in Demon Souls. For example, I would go as far as to say that if a person, say, had 15 strength and 10 dex, and the strength scaling was D, had a strength scaling D weapon and a dex scaling C weapon, that the C weapon would give noticeably more bonus. Despite the 5-point stat difference, I bet you the C weapon would give probably at least 25% more bonus damage, if not 30 to 40, than the D strength scaling weapon would with the superior stat. So that's something to kind of watch out for and pay attention to this game. Another thing I'm going to mention right here is that in this version of the game, weaknesses, in my opinion, play a bigger part. Part of why you want to buy that club off that Dregling is because the skeletons in 4.1 are significantly weak to blunt damage. Like I've seen people, and I've never tested this myself because, again, I'm just going to drop my 500 on my club. But I've actually seen people claim that bare-handed attack damage is better than some of the starter swords against the skeletons. I've never tested that. I can't affirm it, but I've heard it said. So let's look at the Crescent Falchion +1. This is one of the best starting weapons in the game, and I'll go into that more in the next video. But it's 60, even with my character who sucks. Like, my character sucks in all magic stats. He has an intelligence 8. This thing only scales with intelligence, but it scales at an A, and I'm getting literally a 150% bonus versus my stat investment. So it's got a 67 physical attack, an 82 magical attack, and a +12 to the magic attack. So that's altogether, let's see if I can get it in the side instead of having to do math. Altogether, that's 160 damage, right? $160 versus 92. 160 versus 92. That's literally what the comparison is. So you would think, I mean, 160 versus 92, that's a huge difference. That's what, 68 points? 68 points of damage difference. Would it surprise you to hear that the club does more damage against skeletons than the Crescent Falchion does? And I don't mean a little more damage. It does noticeably more damage than the Crescent Falchion does. And you'll see that in the next video, because at first I kind of forget. I don't want to say forget, but I kind of underestimate, and I've played too many Souls games. But you'll see it in the next video. I actually try using the Crescent Falchion at one point against the skeletons and immediately realize, wow, this is actually still way weaker than the club. I guess I'll switch back to that club. So weaknesses are a really big deal in this game. More important than they are in the Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Much more important even than those games. When you have a weapon that hits the weakness of the enemy you're attacking, the impact is just dramatic. We're not talking like a 10% damage buff. We're talking like double damage buff kind of a thing. So again, for 500 soul investment, as long as you've got the 9 strength required to use that club, 500 souls well spent right there at the beginning of the game. So just bear in mind that scaling is a little more impactful, in my opinion, in Demon Souls than it is in... And I feel like they've kept the scaling the same in Blue Souls, so I feel that's going to stay pretty much 1-to-1. So the scaling's more impactful, and the weaknesses are more impactful. Those are two things they absolutely did not change, and they are consistent with the original game. So kudos for that. Now we're just going to talk a brief bit about what you do with that jade hair ornament I found in 1.1. In short, you come talk to Stockpile Thomas. When you get the menu, you simply choose the talk option. He'll tell you about how he had to, I don't really want to use the word abandon because I don't think that's right, but he lost his wife and daughter while escaping from Boletaria and making his way to the Nexus. It's never really clear how any of these people got here. I'm not going to theory craft on that for this video, but, you know. So he lost his wife and his daughter getting to the Nexus, and he talks about that. If you exit the conversation and talk to him again, and I'm not sure if you have to exit or just reinitiate the talk dialogue again, but you can try that if you want, but I always just exit and then talk to him again. He'll notice the jade hair ornament in your inventory, and he'll say, hey, that was my daughter's hair ornament, can I have it? You don't have to wait till you have the jade hair ornament to do that first interaction where you talk to him and hear the story. It's just that I typically don't do it until I have the ornament, because there's really no reason to, you know, not just do it all at once, right? Once you give him the jade hair ornament, which you should, because there's literally no other use for it. It serves no purpose other than to give it to Stockpile Thomas. You are rewarded with the Ring of Herculean Strength, which is in my storage.
I would be happy to lighten your load.
So let's go to storage. Oh, there it is. Nice. I was already on rings. You're rewarded with the Ring of Herculean Strength. Long ago, Stockpile Thomas found this ring lying on the road. Raises item carry capacity. This ring is a okay. This ring in Blue Souls is a complete and total piece of crap. Never use it, never equip it, throw it in the inventory and forget you have it. That's it. It serves no purpose in this game. It's trash. So why is that? Well, that is because in the original game, Demon's Souls, there was an item burden system, and I'll show it here. As you can see on the right, there's equipment burden, and then there's item burden. I have 106 item burden. That's my maximum amount of crap I can carry. And as you can see, I'm running pretty light here. I've got a lot of items that weigh nothing. I've got some pine resin, but again, that pine resin doesn't even weigh 2 pounds. I have some soul remains. They don't even weigh a pound. I will talk much more about what those are and why they matter in a later video. I've got some weightless souls. Yada, 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 yada. Oh, one cool thing I will mention really fast before I forget is I like the enhanced models, the better graphics, because they do show some details that were easy to miss in the original game, and they kind of clear certain things up because of the superior graphics, the 4K, the higher resolution, better textures. You can make certain things out, and they're just nice touches. And they were in the original game, just not as obvious or easy to see. For example, the Nexial binding, relinquish all souls to return to the Nexus. The mark of those imprisoned by the Nexus. The bearer of this seal is bound to the Nexus, never to be free, even in death. Even when the body's lost, soul remains trapped. Nexial binding returns the servant to the Nexus, but allows without any souls collected. The mark of those imprisoned by the Nexus. Check it out. What's that there on the maiden's ankle? See, I like cool little touches like that. And again, that was in the original game, but you really couldn't make it out, again, because it's PS3, much lower resolution textures, lower resolution in general. So I like little touches like that. So props to Blue Point on that for keeping that detail in, and props for the, even though it's really a side effect, not so much something they did, props to the improved graphics for now it being easy to tell and not just looking like she's wearing just a generic prison shackle or something. So anyway, back to the encumbrance. I'm not really carrying a ton of stuff. I'm really not. I throw all my crafting upgrade materials in storage because there's no reason not to. Key items don't weigh anything. I'm only carrying the weapons I'm actually equipped with, only carrying the armor I'm equipped with, only carrying the rings I'm equipped with. I'm not even carrying that much grass, blah, blah, blah. But I'm already at 65.7 item burden, right? So in this game, item burden is completely and totally meaningless because in Blue Souls, they made a little change. See, in Demon's Souls, item burden was important, which is why the Ring of Herculean Strength was important. Basically, you could go into an area and you could loot something and the game could be like, hey man, this weighs too much. You don't have enough item burden to pick this up. Okay? And you had to make a choice. You either had to drop stuff from your inventory to make room to pick up the item that the game just forced you to drop on the ground, or you just had to accept that you're not getting that item on this playthrough and go about your business. So when you're wearing heavier armor, because, I want to point this out, I'm at 65.7. Do you really think this grass and stuff weighs 65 points? Of course not. So the stuff you're actually equipped with is counting towards your weight. My armor counts. My weapons that are equipped count. All that counts. So you're sitting there at 65.7 out of 106 for my character. You kind of had to watch it. You had to keep it in mind if you were wearing heavy armor, using heavy shields, tower shields, using big weapons like the Dragonbone Smasher or a Great Axe or Brammed or what have you. So that ring had some value because it was a great way of boosting your item burden and making it so you could still loot things comfortably without also having to sacrifice something on that heavy gear you wanted for whatever reason. In this version of the game, though, they kept the item burden system, except, people didn't like it. Most people who played Demon Souls went on to play the Dark Souls and the Bloodborns and all that. But most people who started with Dark Souls never went back to play Demon Souls. So to them, this was just this horrible, horrible soul. My God, you mean I actually have to watch what I'm carrying? What? It's this horrible system. And they wanted it gone. They didn't want it in the game. And in all fairness, some of the Demon Souls players didn't like it either. So Bluepoint came to a decision. We can be faithful and keep it in the game, or we can be not faithful. And here's my problem. What they chose to do was, we want to maintain the appearance of being faithful to this system by keeping it in the game, but at the same time, we want to give people the ability to send items to storage right from their inventory whenever they feel like it, even if they're standing 5 foot in front of a lava worm spewing death at them in 2-2. We want to give you the option of when you pick up that big heavy great axe and it puts you over limit, instead of just telling you sorry, make an actual choice. Give something up to get this item because you didn't pay attention to your item burden, or just don't get your great axe. Instead of doing that and making an impactful choice, they get the option to just send the great axe straight to storage. So by definition, what they've done is they've completely invalidated the item burden system. They've made it totally irrelevant, while at the same time leaving it in the game. And to me, that's just stupid. If you're going to change the system to where it's no longer valid, then just get rid of the system. Just get rid of it. To hell with it. Just toss it. And then you can take the Ring of Herculean Strength and you can make it do something else. You can make it give like a strength bonus or some other whatever. You can do something with it that makes it a valuable ring, or maybe not valuable, but at least a viable ring to actually equip. Because in the current system, your item burden is meaningless. You can run at max item burden and it's fine. You'll just have to send everything you try to loot to storage, and then you'll have to visit Stockpile Thomas later and look at it to determine for yourself if it's something you want to go through the effort of reorganizing your inventory for. That's all it is. So the Ring of Herculean Strength in this version of the game is a completely wasted ring slot. It's trash. Don't use it. And that's really all there is to say about that, and I'm gonna stop there. I also mentioned there are some items you can drop to get in the Nexus, but I'm not going to show it on video. So those items were a renowned soldier's soul, I believe. Might have been more than one. I don't remember. And 2 New Moon Grass. New Moon Grass is the strongest grass in the game. It gives you guaranteed full heal. So how you get those is you step off onto a platform, from this platform to one of these blocks, and it really depends on which way you want to go. If you get one item if you go this way, and there's another item on the other side. And it's basically, the blocks are slightly different places, but it's basically the same idea. You step off onto the highest block, you do a drop to the next block, you maybe do a roll, yada 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 yada. It's actually pretty easy, and it's not really that dangerous. I can't remember ever dying to it at any point. Once you get down on the blocks, you just kind of keep dropping down, and what you want to angle for is, it's a little hard to see because of the film grain and the light rays and whatever, but there's like a circular part that's sticking out there that kind of juts out from the wall, and it has these little beams that attach to small platforms on the wall with it. I'll highlight it, circle it or something. You can see it right behind the overly wrought, overly designed archstone. That's also insanely tall. I don't remember them being that tall. It doesn't matter. We've already been over that. So you really want to drop from the blocks onto that curved part, and then you walk along the curved part and walk over the little spacer beams or planks or whatever. And the corpses you're looking for will be on the small platforms attached to the wall. It's not that hard, but that's where you do it. Oh, and I don't know why I'm running down the stairs. And the other thing you probably want to do while you're here in the Nexus after you kill a boss is you also want to run up here for a different reason. What you want to do is you want to goofy-like Wilhelm scream throw yourself off this platform here to your death below. Now, you do need, well, I'll get into that. I'll talk about that when we get there. The reason you want to do that is because really soul form's a buff, and I've talked about this before. So when you're in soul form, you get a passive buff to your detection range, meaning enemies are harder to detect you. Okay, that's one thing you get from soul form. Another thing you get from soul form is you actually get a passive damage buff that most people aren't even aware of. You do slightly more damage when you're in soul form. You can't be invaded by player red phantoms when you're in soul form. Just can't be done. So even if you're playing online, other people can't invade you when you're in soul form. That's kind of consistent throughout the Souls games. And not only that, but when you die in soul form, there's no changes to world tendency, and for various reasons, you probably want to protect your world tendency. So, or at least maintain a iron vice-like grip of control over it. So for many reasons, you really just want to play in soul form. It's just better to do it that way. And just straight up, unless you're intending to play this game with friends and do a lot of co-op, you should not play in body form. As soon as you get your body form back, your first act should be to come to the Nexus, run up these stairs, run, man, I'm so slow with my fat rolling over 50% equipment load. And then you throw yourself off this platform and die. And then you run back up here and get your souls. Yes, it's going to push the Nexus toward Black World tendency, but that's not really a big deal. There's very little chances for combat in the Nexus, and there's only one enemy you actually are guaranteed to have to fight in the Nexus throughout the game. And that's honestly a pretty easy fight, which is, again, something I'll talk about when we get there, which will be a very, very long time. One other thing I noticed off recording is this. It wants me to give it 25,000 souls. I don't even think I have 25,000. I don't even have 25,000 souls right now, so I'm certainly not going to do it. But I kind of looked into it, and apparently it's attached to something I do mention in the 4.1 videos called fractured mode. Like I mentioned in that video because I knew it existed because I saw it in an article that brought it up. But apparently that's how you access fractured mode. You pay that statue 25,000 souls and it turns it on. And I already talk about what fractured mode is briefly in the 4.1 video, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But apparently that's where you turn it on. I'm not going to turn it on, so I don't care. And really that's just about it. Two things that did change after you beat 1.1, I'll mention that real quick, is Saint Urbain's followers did show up over here. I believe this guy with the chainmail coif specifically will offer you some basic miracles. And Sage Frake's follower did show up over here. He will offer you some basic soul arts. So these guys are now here. So if you wanted to dip into some spell casting and didn't have any already or wanted to expand what you did have, you can talk to those guys and do it. They'll also tell you about Saint Urbain and Sage Frake and ask you to go rescue them and all that that entails. I think we've wasted enough time here in the Nexus. Going to go ahead and cut the video here. Thank you for bearing with me and listening to this entire huge ramble. We'll talk about world tendency in more detail later, but it's not for this video. So thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.